the time. I've been down here 2 or 3 months, and they're still messing it up. But I want to question their intelligence in a very short time when a good friend of mine comes down. That's Mr. Bruiser Brody, the most impressive professional athlete that I have ever met in my career, bar none. Joe Green, any professional football player, any professional wrestler. You people mess up Brody's name, and you'll see what happens. Just take a look at this little tape we brought along here.
All right, I'll tell you what we're going to do at this point in time. Then let's take a look at Bruiser Brody in action. I think you'll see exactly what Mr. Duggan is referring to.
The final bout, most falls to curfew. Introducing from Santa Fe, New Mexico, weighing 322 pounds, King Kong Brody. From Fort Myers, Florida, weighing 260 pounds, Ed Schaefer.
We're going up against Bruiser Brody. Now, there's about a 60-pound weight differential between these two, but when you stop to think at how much more immense Brody appears to be than his opponent, and at 6'2", at 6'2 and a half, and at 260 pounds, he is not a small man that he's facing.
No, you lose conception of the size of the other wrestler with Brody in the ring. The man's immense. He's awesome.
Certainly no question about this, as you can see by the tremendous power that absolutely ripples through his entire body. But the interesting thing about Brody, in my opinion, and I have studied the man, I've watched his record, his win-loss record, and I might say it's lopsided in wins. But the fact that he apparently has no mercy whatsoever on his opponents.
No, he no matter what, he's just going to twist and turn and pull until his opponent is just a little wrecked up, you know? He won't cut anybody any slack at all.
All right, he keeps that side headlock, and at 260 pounds, this man Schaefer trying to break free from it, and Brody just continues to clamp down with those massive forearms, and I understand he's, what, about a 22 and a half inch bicep?
Oh, for sure. Look at it. You can hardly see that guy's head in there, the way Bruiser's got his arm clamped around. Those shots to the midsection have no effect at all on Bruiser.
This is the other thing. Whoa, and that enraged Brody as he caught one that must have stung just a bit, and all of a sudden it's Brody exploding on his man, catching him, bringing him over to the turnbuckle, smashing him into that turnbuckle. And again, you see the tremendous power here controlling a 260-pound individual. And another thing about Brody is that he seems to be ice cold in his methodology in approaching an opponent.
Oh, yeah, he has, you know, I don't know, what can you say about the man, you know? He's just working this guy over, throwing him around like a rag doll.
And Brody continues that punishment, even though they're on the ring ropes. Again, a massive forearm across the chest that puts Schaefer back to the canvas. And it is Schaefer firing to the midsection once again, catching him in the side of the rib cage. Now drives him into the turnbuckle. Now watch the sudden explosive power of this man, Brody. All of a sudden.
Ooh, geez, look at that.
And he drives Schaefer to the canvas and again continues his punishment on this man. Of course, the match did continue, but the other interesting aspect of this, as we're going to see right now, is that when it all came down to the very end, Brody resorted back to basic wrestling.
Sure, he's got a great background as an amateur wrestler. He can do anything, but when he loses his temper, what can you say?
And here we're seeing it as Brody continues to punish his man, the closing moments. But now watch here. From a snap mare, drives that knee into the chest. Now as he moves on his man, very quickly, back to the basics, double hooks the legs, goes into a full Boston Crab. And so going back to the basics of wrestling, using that, he has certainly proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he not only has the great physical attributes that we're talking about, but he has the great skill and knowledge of the sport. And there you can see him walking from side to side, cooling himself down, if you will. But certainly all I can say about this man, if he's a friend of yours, if you two tag up, it's going to create a lot of problems for a lot of people.
Well, I've been anxious for him to come down here. I've been listening to all this talk, all this music, all kinds of things going on. DiBiase, Tommy Rich. Well, when Bruiser Brody gets down here, there may be a little more than a little scab on some people's nose. He may do a little bit more damage than that, if you know what I mean.
Thank you so very much, Big Jim. Certainly a pleasure and an honor to have with me right now the president of the National Wrestling Alliance, Mr. Jim Crockett, who just deplaned a couple of hours ago here in Atlanta after an overseas flight from Tokyo, Japan. And Mr. Crockett, of course, I know you heard the word. You were in Japan when you heard the word that Tommy Wildfire Rich had defeated Harley Race for the World Championship in Augusta, Georgia.
And the people in Japan were certainly buzzing about it. Tommy is extremely well known over there, even though he hasn't been there yet. Tommy's reputation is worldwide, and of course his defeating Harley Race Monday night in Augusta proved that his reputation is well deserved.
Certainly no question about that. But on the opposite side of the ledger, Tommy, of course, there was a rematch clause that Harley Race has standardized, of course, in all of his contracts. There was a rematch, and the outcome on the flip side was not quite that.
No, so sure wasn't, Gordon. You know, it was Monday night in Augusta. It was like a dream come true, I guess. And, you know, and just like you said, I wrestled the Harley Race last night, and I didn't do so good. But, you know, the thing is that, you know, I've been after Harley Race for a long time, and it got to the point I didn't know if I could beat him. So I proved to myself and to all the people that's been behind Tommy Rich that I can beat him, and you know, I'll get another chance. And I'd just like to thank Mr. Crockett, first of all, you know, for coming by, and, you know, I certainly appreciate him stopping.
The Harley Race has, in fact, regained the World Heavyweight Championship last night in Gainesville.
That's correct, but I believe Tommy is the youngest man ever to hold the NWA Heavyweight Championship, and he's to be highly commended for that.
Well, certainly no question about that, Tommy, and that had to be that ultimate thrill when you stepped into a class of professional wrestlers that's very elitist indeed.
Well, Gordon, you know, Monday night in Memphis, I mean, still shook up, you know, after it's all happened, you know, in Augusta Monday night. You know, even after it happened, you know, I got up and I knew I'd got the 3 count, but I could, you know, I couldn't even comprehend winning. I didn't realize, and I don't even think the people realized that I'd even won the match until Ronnie West come over and raised my hand, and, you know, that's when I started realizing what had just really happened to Tommy Rich.
Well, I'll tell you what we might do, gentlemen. We might just take a look. Let's journey to Augusta, the 3 of us, and all of you, and we'll take a look at this match as it took place. There we see, of course, the man who has now regained the World Championship for a 6th time, which indeed could be a record, too.
I believe that is the record for holding the NWA Championship.
All right, here we are in Augusta, April 27th, last Monday night, and it's Tommy Rich with a beautiful takedown. And, well, obviously, Tommy, a lot of exciting things going on, and your mind must have been really buzzing at that point in time.
Yes, Gordon, you know, it was, it was one of the biggest crowds that they had in Augusta. And, you know, just like I've said many times, you know, the people was there. They were behind me 100%. And, you know, it was just, you know, I felt it. You know, you feel it when it's there. And I felt like that was going to be my night.
Well, obviously, fate was your night, but here's where he set you for a souffle. You blocked it beautifully, came back over the man, and were stunned here. You were wrestling against the world's finest and certainly one of the most uncannily intelligent men I've ever known.
Yes, sir. You know, that's exactly right, Gordon. You know, Harley's been wrestling for some time longer than myself. You know, he's got a lot more experience. And he's one tough, you know, he's one tough man. I don't think I've wrestled anybody as tough as Harley Race. And, I mean, that goes without saying, or he wouldn't be the World Heavyweight Champion for as long as he has.
Race beginning continuing to press an advantage here. And, Tommy, at this point, did you feel that perhaps the tide was going against you?
Yeah, you know, right here, Gordon, you know, I was about half out, and, you know, all I could hear the people screaming and hollering, "Go, Tommy, go." And, you know, it just makes you reach down and get a little bit more.
And, of course, you went with the sleeper hold, had Race in trouble here. And, again, you began to think that things were beginning to move your way. However, he was able to escape from that. And both of you battling your way back to your feet. Again, he rolls out of the way. Your right arm was beginning to give you troubles. He came up on the top rope. You caught him. And things were now definitely beginning to look up for Tommy Rich.
That's right here, Gordon. The tide did start changing. You know, I don't know where it come from, but I got a little extra. You know, the adrenaline got flowing, and I wasn't going to give up. You know, I just kept going, and I wasn't going to quit.
And, of course, you got the news Monday night, obviously, with a tremendous time lag barrier and everything else. This must have had, as you said earlier, quite a profound effect upon the people in Japan.
Well, it happened Monday night over here, but that was actually Tuesday afternoon in Japan when I heard about it.
And this, of course, then caused Jim Crockett to come hurrying back, and in the process, while you were flying back here to the United States, suddenly the situation is reversed again.
That's correct, Gordon.
Right here, Harley had me down with a suplex, and, you know, like I said, Gordon, I don't know where I was getting it at, but I was reaching down, and just every time they cut me, all I could think of was kick out, kick out.
Well, Well, Tommy, I think you typify so many of the young lions in professional sports today. Here he tried to set you with a pile driver, brought you up. That would normally put any competitor out of action, but you had to dig down deep.
Well, that's right, Gordon. You know, Harley, when he gets you down, he stays on you. He's not gonna give you no breathing room. You know, he just hangs back and he waits for his chance. And once he gets you, he goes all the way with it. And just like, you know, anything he can do to beat you, he's gonna do it.
And again, he tried to set up with that high vertical suplex. Again, a beautiful block by you. You countered him extremely well. Caught him with that vertical body block.
Right there, Gordon. You know, he suddenly, I got behind him, and all I could think of was hitting that rope. And when I come off, he was looking around, and I caught him with a press. See right there, you can see, Gordon, I didn't even know him. You know, when he come over and handed me the belt, right there is when I finally realized what had happened to Tommy Rich.
And it had happened indeed. Tommy Rich joining a very select few to ever win the world NWA World Heavyweight Wrestling Championship. As we said, of course, unfortunately, well, let's just share this moment of ecstasy that you must be feeling right now. Just absolute joy, and you can hear that crowd. They're absolutely delirious. History being made, we're seeing it as it was being made in Augusta, Georgia. For the first time ever, the World Heavyweight Championship changing hands in, well, the home of the Masters and many others. And there you see a very dejected Harley Race, former World Heavyweight Champion. But the man, I think Mr. Crockett has proved once again, though, that Harley Race is certainly an outstanding champion. There's certainly nothing that can be taken away from that man.
Oh, that's right. He's a world-class wrestler, but I think Tommy Rich has proved that he's in the same class with Mr. Harley Race.
And so that means, obviously, Tommy, that your number one sights are set on Harley Race once again.
Well, that's exactly right, Gordon. You know, and the thing, I guess, that makes me the proudest of all that I did come back to Georgia, and I did win the belt right here in Georgia, and the people, you know, just like I've said, they've been behind me 100%. And all I can say is I hope I do get another chance at Harley Race, and when it's over, I'll walk out on top.
I feel very confident by the comments from Mr. Jim Crockett, the president of the NWA, that chance will come in the very, very near future. Thanks so much. What a schedule you've been under.
Thank you, and congratulations again.
Thank you very much, Mr. Crockett.
Thank you. James Crockett, president of the NWA, and Tommy Rich, Tommy Wildfire Rich. We'll be back in a minute.